Hello, adventurers, and welcome back to the Legend of Kelamentura recap series. This time, we're recapping session number 26, Feasting and Fighting. Now, this one's a wee bit later than normal, not because I forgot to do the quest log, but because I have been sick. You can probably hear it a little bit in my voice. I don't know if it's coming across, but sure, we'll see. Yeah, I don't know, kind of I don't know, a few days back, got the quest log where I was going to start recording, felt a bit chesty, and thought, nah, I'll leave it a few days. So, yeah, you might hear that in the voice. There might be some coughing, so apologies for that in advance. But let's get stuck into the recap. This one might be a wee bit of a long one because it is combat. Every time there's combat, I like to do a play-by-play. So I'll see how it go. So picking up from the end of the last session when Duchess had been doing the rocking contest. If anyone knows what that's actually called, because I could be asked to Google it, going into the fields and removing stones from the soil, I call it rocking. If anyone knows the actual term is, please let me know in the comments. Right after that, Titus came back, met up with the rest of the party. He had finished his crafting in the morning. He stayed behind, finished the crafting, met up with everybody else. Showed off the helm of cold breathing that he had been working on, which allows him to use the breath gland that he took from the sea serpent, and breathe the cone of cold, either a 50-foot cone or a 50-foot cone or a line. I can't remember the dimensions of the line, but either a cone or a line he can choose, and do a good bit of cold damage. And he also made a wand of pyrotechnics. That was for Ariadne. Nice little moment because Ariadne got to launch a flare off the boat. I thought, oh, I'm going to make a thing because this is quite cool. Did that, showed off the helm's abilities, what it could do. And then the tree in the courtyard behind them opened up, and Lorilla appeared. Lorilla was able to join us for a wee bit. I think the PC had some time off, and he was like, I'm not going to have screen fatigue. Can I join? I was like, fuck yeah, dude, just show up. So steps out of the tree. I think he said that he can correct me on this, but the face is scarred on one side, the side of the head, one side of her hair had been shaved off like an undercut, effectively on one side, a la kind of a Caduceus look from Critical Role. That's in my head what it looked like. Just like burns, scars. Looks like someone who's been through some shit recently. And had a bit of a chat and talked about, out of fighting displacer beasts, fire elementals, or like fire demons. Shit's not going well at home, but I'm here for some time. Disappointing going. Let's go have some fun. So Dennis had done. Headed back towards into the town to go have lunch and have a bit of crack. I was met by one of the wait staff or servants from the castle, told them they were invited to lunch with Lord Thrain. And they began to head up towards the last hearth. And Titus got it into his head that they're being invited to a birthday lunch for Thrain. So along the way, a couple of stalls bought like little knickknacks and little stupid, the kind of thing where you go to the arcades or a fair or festival, and there's like those stalls that just sell stuff that you would never buy normally. Yeah, that loads of that stuff. I bought like a wooden toy sword that's decently made, and then also managed to create a fucking a birthday card. Well, this whole thing of I misheard you and I'm committing to the bit, so here we go. Because why the fuck not? And then got into the last hearth and saw there were a number of soldiers in the tavern. Kind of soldiers guarding the door, soldiers guarding the bar, a couple of soldiers flanking the head of a table, and a paladin-looking fella, full gleaming plate. Titus was able to recognize the ranks of these soldiers, just no common foot soldiers, and then Prime Legio, a Prime Mikado, kind of high-ranking, fairly fairly highly ranking sergeants almost, not quite officers, but NCO type things. Was the Mikado and the Legio is my ranks for military in Kelamentura. Spied them, And kind of, I think he said, like, instinctively snapped off a salute because Titus is a military man. He's a veteran. And then Thrain kind of says, oh, thank you for coming. And Thrain handed over all the stuff over to, Titus added the stuff over to Thrain. Went, happy birthday. And Titus was like, Thrain was like, thank you, Titus, but it's not my birthday. Thank you. Like, what the fuck do I do with this? Handed it off to Jeffrey. Like harp music kind of playing in the background, and they met a couple of NPCs, fairly high-ranking NPCs. So Desmond's there. Desmond's mother, Colette, is there, and Desmond's stepfather, Conrad Thrain, is also there. I don't know if I think it's in my notes. I don't know if I've brought this up previously, but in previous sessions, I've told how Desmond's father, Percival, was killed during the war. At some point after the war, and between the war happened, as when Percival was killed, and the Sertan disappeared. A couple of years back. Whenever the Sertans disappeared, Colette remarried, and she married like Percival's like cousin, like some cousin of Percival that she remarried, who is Conrad Thrain IV. And he is the Baron of Arakale's ward within Terran, who is kind of like, that's like Chief Justice type thing. It's like Chief Justice, really, really, really high rank and social member. So those two are there. And then at the table, we also have Jeremiah Doyle, finally wearing a very fine grey suit. And sitting facing Doyle is a figure in like a military dress uniform, almost, I described to the party, which Titus recognized as Dynasty dress uniform. This is one Drevis von Schmidt, so he's introduced himself as. And he is the commissioner for military advancement for the Dynasty. Very high-ranking individual. He's also at the lunch. Party, sit down, have a lunch, lots of just chatting back and forth and learning and engaging with the NPCs, delving into backstories and bringing up bits and pieces from the past and all this kind of stuff. Fairly like an NPC chat, if you will, kind of world building, bulking up the story type stuff. And towards the end of the lunch, Achilles gets the idea to take the Defiant brooch that he has, that Lowe bought off the Wily Goat people. Take it and say, oh, someone at this table is a member of a cult. Throws the brooch out of the table and made an insight check to see if anybody reacted. Nobody did, or at least not that he saw. And then pulled it off with a very good persuasion check of, oh, could you imagine if that was the case? Ha 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 ha. And everybody burst out laughing. Conrad kind of at that point, that's very funny, no, but seriously, where did you get this? No, seriously, where did you get it? Tell me. A little bit of attention, bit of a chat back and forth. But all ended up well in the end. And then decided, okay, we're going to head off, go back out of the tavern, go back outside, and enjoy the rest of our day. All well and good. So kind of the nobles and everything, the guests go first, get ready to leave. Party's kind of milling about, and the other soldiers come up and kind of are hanging around. One of them, the Legio, comes over, looks at Titus, spies his like tattoo. He has a tattoo that is like his result rank, his unit number. He told me in the session, but I can't remember. Some regiment he told me. So it was like Titus's rank insignia, veteran tattoo. I was like chatting away. I was, oh, and what did you do in the war? What did you do? I was like, oh, I was a specialist. What did I do? I was like, oh, I was a specialist. Oh, what did you do? Oh, I worked the kitchen, the smith, and all that. Oh, you're rear echelon. And the guy said it was like, oh, you're a fucking support troop. Call yourself a soldier. Looking down on him. Titus reacted like puffing himself up, like, yeah, of course I was rear echelon. Fuck you. I'm proud of that. Legio was looking down on him. The Yakato kind of comes over and just rinses the Legio like, no, fuck you. Thank you for volunteering. Volunteering for what? You're going to be working in the mess hall for the next 6 months. Fuck you. Get out of here. I was like, oh, okay. And then the Kato speaks with Titus for a bit. Chatting back and forth, he says, no, I thought I recognized you. My unit actually fought alongside yours at one point, and you probably don't remember me, but you did actually come to our campfire after a battle. You made tea for us. You talked us all through it all. You know, you really helped us get through it. So I recognize you. I thought I was come over and let you know I really appreciate it. Get a little bonding moment between him and Titus gives a bit of a nod. The Akado then says, excuse me. He says, "Oh, have you heard of your old? When's the last time you heard about anything about your old legatus, the Legion commander, Jackson Blackwater?" Goes, "Oh yeah, him. What about him? He's not doing well. Well, what happened? Well, his wife. I think his wife died a while back, and he's at home alone. He's not in a good place. I think he could do with the Titus cup of tea. He's got cancer. He's not doing well. If you could go see him at some point, you know, that would be, I think you could do with it." And Titus went, "Oh, well, thanks for letting me know, and I'll certainly go ahead and do that." So there's now a little like thing dropped of, "Hey, here's go look at this other person," type thing. So that was that. Excuse me while I gonna do a wee pause here while I go for a drink and a coughing fit. And I'm back. So after that little exchange, the party then queues up, leaves the tavern, and goes back out. And like I say, there's been a number of like arenas, like sparring rings have been set up. There's a couple of like fighting pits as well for like larger combatants or larger bouts have been set up. And they kind of come out and they kind of mill around going, "Oh, there's fighting coming up," and there's people of kind of beginning to take names for bouts. And Achilles gets pulled aside by the finger of the event that he had met previously. Kind of like, as I said, you feel a tug in the sleeve. You kind of look over. You see a figure you recognize, and he kind of stands back into the alleyway. And excuse me. Yeah, sort of, and then they have a little conversation. The thieves' cant. The thieves' cant conversation was, the finger to Achilles was, "The western bathhouse is flooded. Rats have taken hold. Check it out the roaster for ticks. Show buddy for the minnows if you have the copper." Which was the Avant, then Portmore, have been driven out by forces unknown. Survivors report a link to Doyle. Keep him and his crew busy while I go check out a ship for anything that ties into it. And the kid was like, "Oh, shit, will do." So the party go off, sign up for the bouts. And Achilles goes off, writes a note to Doyle, goes over, I challenge you to a fight. Doyle agrees and went, "I must warn you, Master Achilles, my skill ain't, I'm not much of a martial fella. My skill's more within the arcane. If you don't mind going up against that." I was like, "Hey, I'm a caster. I'm not a melee guy, but let's see how this goes." It's all fun and games. So the bouts are Achilles versus Doyle, Ariadne fighting Deshuk, or Owlin Arakokra Monk from the previous session, Bjorn v. Chiron, the tiefling captain that we met in previous sessions. Lo decided to go up against both of the Cloud Giants, Umagorn and Gurbadan. Titus took on Creve, and Lorilla took on both of the Hill Giants. And Duchess decided not to fight and conform to type as a cleric and just sit in the middle of all the fights and heal people. Because they were told, listen, you can either do tag fighting or you can go full on. And you can decide, you and your opponent can decide what constitutes the end of a bout. Fighting to unconsciousness in this case, not trying to kill each other, but unconsciousness. So, I am going to do a blow-by-blow of the combat. Rapid rundown style. So, everybody rolled initiative. Ran all the bouts at the same time. So it was described, you're all in the square. Like, you're all in different arenas. The giants are kind of in like larger pits going up against you guys. Just to try and keep things clean. But, here we go. So, up first was Lo, who did as Lo does and went Nova right out the gate. Charged up straight into combat against one of the Cloud Giants. Dagger of Venom, his rapier, went up, stabby. Stupid damage rolls. Because if this is your first time listening to one of our recaps, hello, thank you for joining us. I have a party member called Sir Low-Key. He is a paladin, bard, sorcerer, multi-class. And you know the meme with paladins and spell slots? Spell slots, smites make spell slots go burr. Yeah, that's Low. His spell slots are used for basically just smiting. At least that's what he's done so far in combat. So, yeah. And he's like defensive floor, all these multi-class to shit. I don't mind it. It's fun. Because it's basically, oh, okay, I go up, I stab him, and hang on, let me roll my 50,000 d8s. Because smite, damage, oh my god, all the things. Yeah, I think it was something like 70 points of damage total. Like 70 or 80 points of damage between the two strikes. So yeah, ridiculous. Round up. Stabby, poison one of the giants. Ariadne up next. Full on arms, full on visage of the astral self. Ran forward and boobity pummeling the shit out of the monk. Showing off what she could do. Like really, every single shot landed, I think, in her opening round as well. Massive damage. Achilles was the next. He ran up, and because he's a swashbuckler rogue, he can use sneak attack without advantage or being flanked. So he goes up and stabby, hits Doyle twice, does a good chunk of damage, genuinely, with the sneak attack and everything. And then Doyle kind of grins and goes, all right, let's see what happens. And then Lorella goes next, steps into the ring with the two hill giants, Rock and Granite. She polymorphs into a giant ape. I think it was polymorph. You can correct me on that, Nick, if I'm wrong. Polymorphs into a giant ape, bellows out a war cry, picks up a boulder, fucks it at one of the hill giants, and then does a fucking Superman flying punch and decks the other one in the face. Massive openings, like boom, like fucking full on King Kong and this shit. And then me and Duchess kind of was like, okay, no one needs hitting at the moment. I'll see what comes next. Doyle was up next. And he says, all right, my turn, boy. Took his staff, cracked Achilles across the face with it. So it's bludgeoning damage, and then Achilles made a wisdom save and took some psychic damage. As these, like, very harsh words, right? Just, it's your fault he's dead. Cut into Achilles' mind and did some psychic damage. And then bonus action, and then cast a spell on him with a bonus action. Achilles failed his other save, and his mind became very muddled, and taking even more psychic damage. An awful lot of it at this point. The Sheik was next, kind of caught off guard by Ariadne's viciousness, and wasn't really able to. And I rolled like shit, but in the sense of the game, narratively, the Sheik was caught off guard by the onslaught. Just like I think landed one or two punches, and that was it. And then Titus goes up next. Oh yeah, Titus and Kree, both Rune Knight fighters, both before the fight went, let's go all out, fuck it. So like Hill Rune, Fire Rune, Storm, all of the runes. Just these two like kaiju fights in the middle of fucking Iceborne. Just coming up and three hammer blows against the Dragonborn, including grappling him as part of one of the attacks. It kind of like grabs and grapples, like punches, grapples, and then like boom, boom. Huge hits. Then we get into the giants. Uma and Gorma. Uma was poisoned, tried to use telekinesis on Low, who succeeded on the contested check. And then Gorma came in and just two massive Morningstar attacks. Just wham! Beating down their friend. The cleric from Chiron's crew was kind of sitting next to Duchess for all of this. Then dishes out some healing for Dashuk, because she's the one who's actually got a shit rocked so far. Chiron goes up next. Tried to use his scimitars against Bjorn. Couldn't land a hit. And then used one of his Blood Hunter abilities to Blood Curse of Binding. So Bjorn couldn't take reactions, couldn't move, and then he stepped back out of melee going, haha, you can't get to me. Bjorn did not take kindly to this, and the Warhammer Bjorn is a reach component to it. I went, oh, you're 10 feet from me, I can still hit you. Waha! Rolled a critical hit, not 20. I was like, oh, I critted on you. Fuck you! Just boom, you're dead. Yeah, massive, massive damage with the crit, and then got him again. And Carrion was like, oh shit, this is not good. Then the Hill Giants, end of the round, went up, and both Hill Giants, flanking Lorilla, just beat the shit out of her, even in ape form. They both landed hammer blows on her. Excuse me. But, that's all they could really do, was just pummel this giant ape. Back to the top of the round, Low continues his campaign of violence against Uma, who is poisoned. Again, does even more damage. Doesn't crit, but still rolls like 70 to 80 points of damage between his two attacks. And Uma's still standing. Cloud Giants are a sack of hit points. So, that's that. Still not looking good, but, still standing. Insert Elton John reference. Next, Ariadne kind of going up and still bringing down astral hammer blows onto her feathered friend. Very nearly brought the Shuk down that round. If there hadn't been the healing, the Shuk would have been down. So that's that. Achilles then lost his temper a little bit. Didn't appreciate having his mind fucked with, and landed 2 really nasty blows, including a crit. So Rogue crit on the sneak attack. That was fun. 2 massive, massive blows on Doyle, who looked back at Achilles. You could see, he's lost his temper, felt the weight of the blow, looked at Achilles and went, temper, boy. And then Lorilla leapt away, kind of, okay, I want to do a thing, can I make, just to say, basically in between the 2 Hill Giants, leapt away from them, up to the side of the pit, took the opportunity attacks, grabbed it on the side of the pit, and then just Superman powerbomb punched Granite. Absolutely wrecked his shit. Just boom! Prone, fuck you. I think okay, now roll your normal attack damage and actually roll me a couple of d6 because fall damage, you literally just pile drived him. So yeah, pretty badass little moment from Gorilla. Duchess, then up next, went to heal Achilles, caught a look, and was like, no, I'm not going to. Achilles in duels, it's a whole thing. Do not fuck with Achilles in a duel. I went, okay, I'm not going to heal you. Instead, Bjorn, Low, Sanctuary. Boom. Which, as a DM, you know how fucked what Sanctuary can do to your plans. That was that. Doyle up next, after saying temper. Tried to use his cane on Achilles, but missed. Sort of whiffed with the cane. And then used another spell, which Achilles thankfully saved on. He saved on it. And we then had a bit of a misunderstanding of the rules for Uncanny Dodge. And it was used in that case. You've corrected it going forward. But anyway, we've had a whole discussion with him about this. It's all good. Okay, fine. I used the spell should have affected the crowd. However, it was focused on you. That's why Uncanny Dodge worked. So, succeeded on his save and then was able to Uncanny Dodge the spell. Which, if you hadn't done that, would have been the end of Achilles. Not that he wouldn't have killed him, but it would have been the end of the fight. It would not have been fun. And then Shuk went up next. Still couldn't quite bring herself back into focus and channel, and you couldn't really bypass Ariadne's defenses. Only landed a single blow, not having a good day in the office at all. Titus, who was still holding Creve. Oh, sorry, I think I missed Creve at one point. But yeah, Creve at one point, but like while being grappled, just kind of like Captain Kirk double fist punch, just boom, boom against Titus. Hitting him hard, but Titus is a sack of hit points. He's like, I've had harder hits than this. This is no real concern to me. So did that. Titus holding Crave. Then went, all right, I'm bored of this, and just fucking fighter action surge, 6 hammer blows, including a crit. And yeah, it was just me sitting there looking at the character sheet for Crave, going, okay, hit, all 6 of them hit and a crit. Okay, roll the crit damage. Okay. And just like counting the damage, being like, fuck, this is getting close. And as I said, the crit was the final blow. And I was like, oh yeah. So you basically just hold him and just, you know the bit in, what is it, Age of Ultron, Iron Man and Hulk? Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. That bit. That was basically what the fight was like. Just boom, 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 boom. Knocked him the fuck out. Dropped him like, oh, you're unconscious. Clerics, heal him. So that was the end of Grieve. Damn. The Uma and Gorma went up next. Uma still poisoned. Tried to cast again, trying to cast spells, but low still. No, didn't even bother with the spells. Rolled. Both of them just morning stars against this paladin. Like, oh, you want to play games? Okay, fine. Boom, just both of them kicking the shit out of low. Well, they tried to, but Sanctuary stopped them from landing, I think, a single hit. I think they managed to get one shot because Sanctuary. Fucking madness. Then Damien used Mass Cure Wounds for Chiron to shoot, give them a bit of a kick to bring them back up. Creve was then being attended to by the clerics. And then we get back to Chiron. And Chiron, again with Sanctuary, did actually manage to succeed in his wisdom save or check, whatever it is, and rolled a crit on the attack. But Titus, one of his runes allows him to cancel that, or there's a runic ability he has, I can't remember what it is, but he used that and was able to cancel the crit. So yeah, that was fun. Oh, the DM crits. No, you don't. The Dungeon Master will remember this. But all fun and games. And Karen went, all right, I'm going to stay here because the last time I tried to move, it didn't work for me, so fuck it. Bjorn did manage to succeed in his save against the Blood Curse. And just went, all right, hammer blows on this Tiefling Blood Hunter. Like, okay, you want to stay here and take it? Fucking stay here and take it. Then boom, da boom, da boom, da boom. Beat the shit out of him. Still standing, only just. But that was all fun and games. And finally, we had Rock and Granite. Still just Granite, who was being pinned underneath this gorilla, trying to reach up and smack gorilla. I think he managed to hit them. I think he managed to hit them even with disadvantage because of prone. And the other and Rock again bringing the fists to bear. Both of them beating the snot out of a gorilla. Heavy damage, but giant apes are a sack of hit points. So the fight continues. And we ended it up there because that was like, it's getting late. We'll pick up here next time, end of the round. So next session, we're going to pick up, finish the fight, and we'll see where it goes from there because there's some things going on in the background. I've got stuff planned for the next session, but we'll see where it goes. So, tune in next adventures, and we'll see where we go. But until next time, see you adventures. Bye.